best friend died 6 months ago. Yesterday, I got a letter from her. It was postmarked 3 days ago. At first, I told myself there was a reasonable explanation. A letter written before she died. A delay in the mail, a coincidence. But then another letter arrived. And another. Each one knew things only she could know. Things she should never have been able to see. That's when I realized this wasn't an apology. It was a demand. The apology. The letter arrived on a Thursday in March. Slipping through the mail slot with the grocery circulars and credit card offers, Sarah almost missed it, nearly threw it out with the junk mail, but the handwriting on the envelope stopped her mid-motion. She knew that handwriting. Looping, slightly backward slanting letters. The way the S in her name curled like a question mark. Maya. Sarah's hands trembled as she opened it, standing in her narrow apartment hallway, coat still on, grocery bags forgotten at her feet. Dear Sarah, I know it's been 4 years. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I've been thinking about what happened, about what I said, and I need you to know how sorry I am. I was scared. When you told me about the pregnancy, about keeping it, I panicked. I said terrible things, that you were ruining your life, that you were being selfish. I called you irresponsible when you were just trying to do what felt right. I should have supported you. I should have been there. Instead, I chose judgment over friendship, and I've regretted it every day since. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know that you deserved better from me. You deserved better than silence. I hope you and Emma are doing well. Love. Maya. Sarah read it 3 times, tears blurring the words. Emma. Maya had remembered her daughter's name, the one she'd mentioned only once in their last horrible conversation before Maya had walked away. 4 years of silence. 4 years of wounded pride on both sides, of almost calling, of drafted texts never sent. And now this. She found Maya's number in her contacts, never deleted, just muted, and called. It rang 4 times before someone picked up. Hello? An older woman's voice thick with grief. Hi, I'm looking for Maya Chen? This is Sarah Reeves. I'm an old friend. Oh. A long pause. Oh, honey, I'm Maya's mother. I'm so sorry, but Maya passed away 6 months ago. The hallway tilted. Sarah caught herself against the wall. What? It was an aneurysm. Very sudden. She didn't suffer. I just got a letter from her. Today. Another pause, longer this time. That's not possible, dear. Maya died in September. Sarah looked down at the letter in her hand, at the postmark. March 14th, 2026. This week. I'm so sorry for your loss, Sarah heard herself say, and ended the call. She stood there for a long time, holding the letter, trying to make sense of it. Maybe Maya had written it before she died. Maybe it had gotten lost in the mail for months. Things like that happened. But 6 months? And the postmark was clear, local, recent. That night, Sarah couldn't sleep. She kept reading the letter, looking for clues, for explanations. The handwriting was perfect. The details were right. The pregnancy, the fight, even the things Maya had said. Irresponsible. That word had cut the deepest. She thought about Maya's funeral happening somewhere without her, 6 months ago. While Sarah had been giving Emma her first day of preschool, buying Halloween candy, living her life, Maya had already been gone. The guilt sat heavy in her chest. The second letter came 5 days later. Dear Sarah, I hope my last letter found you well. I know it must have been a surprise after all this time. I've been thinking about you so much lately. Do you remember that summer we drove to the coast? We got lost for 3 hours, and you insisted the GPS was wrong. It wasn't. We laughed so hard, we almost drove off the road. I miss that. I miss you. I'd love to hear back from you if you're willing. I understand if you're not ready. Love. Maya! Sarah's blood ran cold. She grabbed her phone and called Maya's mother back. Mrs. Chen, this is Sarah Reeves again. I'm so sorry to bother you, but I got another letter. Another? Mrs. Chen's voice tightened. What kind of letter? From Maya, postmarked 3 days ago. That's impossible. Sarah, my daughter is dead. I know, could she have written letters before she died, set them up to be mailed? Maya's death was sudden. She didn't know it was coming, and frankly, I went through her things. There were no letters, no mentions of you at all, if I'm being honest. The word stung, but Sarah pressed on. Did she ever talk about me before she died? Mrs. Chen sighed. No, honey. I'm sorry. I know you two were close once, but that was years ago. In the last months of her life, Maya was focused on other things. Her work, her boyfriend. She never mentioned you. After Sarah hung up, she stared at the second letter. The coast trip. That had happened 12 years ago, the summer after college. They'd gotten spectacularly lost, and yes, Sarah had insisted the GPS was malfunctioning. They'd laughed until their sides hurt. Only Maya would remember that. She turned the envelope over, examining the postmark again. Local post office 3 days ago. She held it up to the light, looking for what? Evidence of forgery? Proof of the impossible? The handwriting was perfect. Even the slight smudge on the H in thinking. Maya had been left-handed, always dragging her hand through fresh ink. Sarah put both letters in a drawer and tried to forget about them. She lasted 4 days. The third letter was waiting when she got home from work, and this time Emma was with her. Mommy, who's that from? Emma asked, pointing at the envelope. An old friend, sweetie. Go wash your hands for dinner. Sarah waited until Emma was in the bathroom before opening it. Dear Sarah, I saw you yesterday. You were at the park with Emma. She's gotten so big. She looks just like you. Same dark hair, same stubborn chin. You were wearing that blue jacket I always loved on you. Emma was on the swings, and you were watching her with that expression you get when you're worried she'll fall. She didn't fall. She never does. You worry too much. Why haven't you written back? Maya. The letter slipped from Sarah's fingers. Yesterday. The park. The blue jacket. She'd been at the park yesterday. Emma had been on the swings. Sarah had been wearing the blue jacket. She ran to the window, looking out at the street, at the park visible 2 blocks away. No one there, just empty swings moving slightly in the wind. Her hands were shaking as she picked up the letter again. The handwriting was still perfect, still Maya's, but something about the letter felt different, the tone slightly off, the words more clipped. "You worry too much." Maya used to say that, but always gently, teasing. This felt like a criticism. Sarah called the local post office. "I need to know who mailed a letter," she said. "Is there any way to trace—" "Ma'am, we handle thousands of pieces of mail daily. Unless you have a specific complaint or legal reason, my dead friend is sending me letters." A pause. "Ma'am, I think you might want to contact the police." But what would she tell them? That she was being haunted by mail? That a ghost was watching her at the park? She looked at the postmark again. This letter had been mailed the same day she'd been at the park, not before. The same day. Something was watching her, learning her routines, and using Maya's voice to do it. Sarah didn't go to the park for a week. She varied her route to work, kept Emma close, checked over her shoulder. No more letters came, and she started to breathe easier. Maybe it had stopped. Maybe it had been some kind of sick prank, and whoever was behind it had gotten bored. Then, on a Tuesday morning, she found the 4th letter taped to her apartment door. Not mailed. Taped. "Dear Sarah, why are you avoiding me? I thought you'd be happy to hear from me. I thought you missed me. I forgave you for not coming to my funeral. I know you didn't know, but you know now, and you still haven't written back. You haven't even acknowledged me. Do I mean that little to you, after everything we were to each other? You owe me a response, Sarah." Maya. The tone had shifted completely. No more reminiscing, no more gentle apologies. This was accusatory. Hurt. Sarah photographed the letter and the envelope, then called the police. An officer came by that afternoon, young, skeptical, clearly thinking she was paranoid or attention-seeking. "Could be an ex-boyfriend," he suggested. "Someone who knew your friend, playing a prank. I want a restraining order." "Against who? A dead person?" He softened at her expression. "Look, I'll file a report. If anything else happens, if you see anyone suspicious, if you're threatened directly, call us immediately. But right now, there's not much we can do." After he left, Sarah pulled out all 4 letters and spread them on her kitchen table. She studied the handwriting, looking for inconsistencies. There were none. Every loop, every slant, every pressure point was identical to Maya's writing. She had old birthday cards, old notes from college, and they matched perfectly. But in the bottom corner of the 4th letter, she noticed something, a small smudge like a fingerprint. She held it up to the light. Not a smudge, a stain, dark, reddish brown. Her stomach turned. The 5th letter came the next day, again taped to her door. "Dear Sarah, I'm disappointed in you. I reached out with love, with forgiveness, and you respond with silence, with police. Did you really think that would work? Did you think you could keep me away? I know where Emma goes to preschool. Little Lamb's on Maple Street. Her teacher is Mrs. Rodriguez. Emma's favorite color is purple. She has a stuffed rabbit named Hoppy that she sleeps with every night. I know everything, Sarah, because I'm watching, because I care. You can't ignore me forever. Maya. Sarah's hands shook so badly she almost dropped the letter. She immediately called Emma's preschool. I need you to put my daughter on the do not release list for everyone except me, she said. No one picks her up but me, under any circumstances. And if anyone asks about her, if anyone's been watching the school, I need to know immediately. She called the police again. Same officer, more concerned this time. This is escalating, he agreed. We'll increase patrols in your area. I'd recommend staying with family or friends for a few days. But Sarah's parents were 3 states away, and her other friends, she'd let those relationships lapse over the years, too focused on single motherhood, too proud to ask for help, just like she'd been too proud to reach out to Maya. That night, Sarah barely slept. Every sound in the apartment made her jump. Every shadow seemed wrong. She kept Emma in bed with her, holding her daughter close, listening to her breathe. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I can hear her breathing from here. She sounds peaceful. You should answer my letter, Sarah. Sarah grabbed Emma and locked herself in the bathroom, calling 911. The police came quickly this time, searched the apartment, found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no one outside, no one on the security camera footage from the building's entrance. We can post an officer outside tonight, they offered. Sarah nodded, unable to speak. The 6th letter was slipped under her door at 4 a.m., while the police officer was supposedly watching. Sarah found it at dawn, when she finally emerged from the bathroom with a sleeping Emma in her arms. Dear Sarah, you're making this so much harder than it needs to be. I died alone, you know. The aneurysm happened while I was at home watching TV. I was on the floor for 3 hours before my boyfriend found me. 3 hours of knowing something was wrong, feeling my brain bleeding, unable to move or call for help. Do you know what I thought about? I thought about you. I thought about how we'd fought, how we'd never fixed it. I thought about how I'd never meet Emma, never see if you were happy. I died with regrets, Sarah. And now I'm back, and you won't even talk to me. That's cruel. You're being cruel. But I forgive you. I always forgive you. Just write back. That's all I want. Just acknowledge me. Or I'll have to make you acknowledge me. Maya. The officer outside had seen no one. The building cameras showed nothing. The letter had simply appeared. Sarah looked down at the handwriting, and for the first time, she saw it. A small inconsistency. The word acknowledge in the last paragraph, the K, was slightly different, more angular than Maya's usual soft curves. She pulled out all the previous letters and compared them. The first letter, Maya's handwriting, perfect and exact. The second letter, still perfect. The third, a tiny variation in the T crossings. The fourth, several words slightly off. The fifth, more errors. The sixth, dozens of tiny inconsistencies, as if something was forgetting how to copy Maya's writing or didn't care anymore, like something was dropping a disguise. Sarah's phone rang. Mrs. Chen. "Sarah, I'm so sorry to call so early, but I need to tell you something. I've been going through Maya's things again, and I found a letter. It's addressed to you. She must have written it weeks before she died, but never sent it." "What does it say?" "She apologizes for the fight, for walking away. She asks if you'd be willing to meet for coffee, to try again." Mrs. Chen's voice cracked. "She wanted to fix things with you, honey. She really did. But she never got the chance." Sarah felt tears streaming down her face. "Can you send it to me?" "Of course. But Sarah, whoever is sending you those letters, it's not Maya. My daughter wanted to reconcile with you, but she never got to. She died not knowing if you'd forgive her. Whatever is pretending to be her, don't let it taint her memory." After they hung up, Sarah looked at the 6 letters spread across her table. She thought about Maya dying alone, thinking about their friendship. She thought about regrets and second chances and things left unsaid. And she thought about the thing that was using Maya's voice, Maya's handwriting, Maya's memories, but wasn't Maya, could never be Maya. She gathered all 6 letters and put them in a box. Then she sat down and wrote a letter of her own. "Dear Maya, I forgive you. I always forgave you. I wish you'd known that. I wish we'd had the chance to fix what we broke. But you're gone. You died 6 months ago, and I'll never get to tell you that I understood why you reacted the way you did. I'll never get to introduce you to Emma properly or laugh with you about our terrible life choices or grow old together. I'm writing this to you, to the real you, wherever you are, not to whatever is pretending to be you. I loved you, I miss you, and I'm letting you go. Goodbye, Maya. Love, Sarah." She put the letter in an envelope, addressed it to Maya Chen, and wrote "Return to Sender" across the front. Then she burned it in her kitchen sink, along with all 6 letters she'd received. For 3 days, nothing happened. No more letters, no more texts, no more feelings of being watched. On the 4th day, Maya's real letter arrived from Mrs. Chen, forwarded in a padded envelope, careful and precious. Sarah read it alone, crying, finally grieving properly for the friend she'd lost. The real Maya, the one who'd made mistakes and wanted to fix them, the one who'd died with regrets, but also with love, not the thing that had worn her face. That night, Sarah slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. Emma curled beside her, Hoppy clutched in her small hands. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. One last text. "I understand. Goodbye, Sarah." She deleted it without responding. In the morning, there was nothing taped to her door. No letters in the mail, no whispers of being watched. Whatever it had been, ghost, mimic, manifestation of guilt, it was gone. Sarah kept Maya's real letter in a frame on her bookshelf next to old photos of the two of them, laughing, alive, friends. She told Emma about her, about the good times, about the mistakes they'd both made. She never told her about the other letters. Some things were better left buried. But sometimes, late at night, Sarah wondered, had it been something supernatural wearing Maya's face? Or had it been her own guilt manifesting in increasingly desperate ways until she'd finally forgiven both Maya and herself? She didn't know. She didn't want to know. She'd said goodbye, and that was enough. 2 months later, Sarah received a letter from the estate lawyer handling Maya's affairs. Maya had left her something in the will, a small inheritance and a note. The note was brief, in Maya's handwriting. Real handwriting, written before she died. Sarah, if you're reading this, I never got brave enough to send my apology. I'm sorry for that, too. Use this money for Emma. Tell her about me someday. Tell her we were friends even when we were stupid about it. M. Star. Sarah cried reading it. Real tears, clean tears, grief without horror. She put the note with the framed letter, a memorial to friendship and forgiveness, to things left unsaid and second chances never taken. And if sometimes she felt like someone was watching her at the park, if sometimes she caught a glimpse of handwriting that looked too familiar on random scraps of paper, she ignored it. She'd said goodbye. Whatever answered didn't matter anymore.